This week we're going to be talking about creating and organizing using Google Drive by Tim Hassan. You could contact me at Hassan Math, or you could see what we're doing at Early Mart by following hashtags EarlyTech or hashtag EarlySD. All right, so first, what is this Google Drive? Is it the new Google cars you see going around everywhere? Is it a new golf ball that, drives further than the average? Is it a new hammer that drives nails better? Or is it what LeBron James uses whenever he's driving to the basket? These are all not Google Drive. So let's take a look at the ancestry of Google Drive. You have the first computers made, I got this from the Wikipedia page from IBM. This was from the 50s. And then they looked something like this. And then you start to get, I think this was from the late 70s, early 80s, the kind of hard drive that we kind of recognize today where it looks like a disk. And then you have another disk drive later on. Then you have the zip drives. And now this is like a modern external hard drive. And here is a thumb drive. If you notice, all of those items have the word drive in them. So Google Drive is basically a way to store things, but it's a little bit more than that. But if you think of this as a thumb drive or a hard drive, it will give you a good start point for what Google Drive really is. Now, there's a lot of other programs like Dropbox, iCloud, SharePoint, OneDrive, or Microsoft Office that do things similarly to Google Drive, but not one of them do everything that Google Drive does to the effectiveness of how Google Drive does it. For instance, Google Drive offers you the creation of documents, which this automatically gets rid of Dropbox and iCloud. They do not create documents. Microsoft Office does. OneDrive is basically Microsoft's version of the Google Drive. And SharePoint kind of lets you create documents, but you're really just using your Microsoft Office suite. But I didn't X that out for this yet. The other thing you have is collaboration. Now, some people argue SharePoint allows you to collaborate, but I say that it does not allow collaboration in the same way that Google Drive does. It still makes you have to basically open the file one at a time. You can't both look at the file, edit it simultaneously, which is what Google Drive is very big on. So now we have the OneDrive and the Google Drive. Honestly, I've never used OneDrive, so I don't know how it compares, but what I do know is that Google Drive is free and OneDrive it used to be called SkyDrive, is a subscription. So if you want to pay for something that you get for free, have at it. But for me, I'll stick with Google Drive because it serves my needs very well. So with Drive, you can create documents. So it creates documents like Google Docs, which is like Word, Sheets, which is like Excel, Google Draw, which is like Paint. Draw is actually very, very cool. It creates every shape it creates as a text box, and you could import that directly into a Google Doc, the Word file. You have Google Slides, which is like PowerPoint, and Google Forms, which is kind of a cross between SurveyMonkey meets Excel. All of the above things, each of these things that these Google Docs that you create can be embedded in a Google site. So if you create a Google website for your classroom or your district or anything like that, all of these things could be directly embedded into your website, which is amazing. Okay. With Drive, you can also store documents or convert to Google Documents. So Drive is a cloud storage, so any file can be stored there. If you do store files that are not Google based, it's going to tax your 30 gigs if you have a Google Apps for Education account, or if your personal 15 gigs account. It will tax that. So you do have the option to convert Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Google to the Google format, and that's the benefit of using the Google format, is that does not tax your account. That's free storage. It also allows you to convert PDFs to JPEGs, which also make it free storage. But I just highly recommend anytime you convert something, you'll start to get to know what will convert well and what won't. But I just highly recommend, if you're trying to convert it, check it. Just open it up, make sure it looks right, and if it didn't convert pretty, then just go ahead and re-upload it. Don't convert it, but then again, still check it, make sure it looks right. I have found one case where even when I didn't convert it, that it still did not generate well on the Google Drive viewer, so then I had to save it as a PDF. That's a side note, and I could do that on a different video later. If you need to know that, please email me and I'll help you out there. Also, with Google Drive, you can collaborate and share documents, so multiple users can edit the same document at the same time. You can send links to all documents, files, and presentations. So this presentation that you're viewing right now, I could actually give you, in fact, right here is a link to this presentation. I use a QR code and a shortened URL for it. And then it also has communication tools built within the actual presentation itself. I'm using Google Slides right now, so if I go ahead and just bring this down here, I've got comments, and then if anybody else was watching right here, I'd have a chat bar. I'd have the names of the people here, and then there'd be a little bubble right here that would allow me to enter a chat. So even if you're not in the same room, you're able to collaborate using Drive. So let's take a look at Drive. This is basically the home page of Drive. If you click My Drive, it'd say Drive up here. I didn't want to show you My Drive because it's crazy, so I created an example folder so it looks more like what it look like when you start. Now, one tip: this text box will search everything that you have associated with your Drive. So use that. It's a very quick and easy way to get around. So over here you have your creation tool and your upload tool. If you click here, you'd have a drop down box that would allow you to access the documents, the sheets, the forms, and various other things that you can get from the marketplace. The up button actually will allow you to upload other files. Okay. Over here you have the shared with me. So that anytime somebody says, hey, I shared this item with you, you can click the shared with me, and when you find it, I think the Google Apps for Education's got a button at the top that says add to my Drive, or if you see the shared with me, and you could click it and drag it right onto my Drive and let go, and then it'll give you a shortcut so you don't have to go share with me every time. So that's a little tip. Shared with me is going to be called incoming. I personally have not gotten too much work on the new Drive. There's some features that look really cool on it, and there's other features that I'm not as familiar with yet. But it's going to be called incoming instead of shared with me in the very near future. It keeps on trying to auto change me over, and I keep on changing back to the old Drive just because I'm used to it. But it's going to happen. It's going to be incoming, and there's going to be a couple new things going on there. Now over here, the settings wheel. It's very important to know this. If you click this, it will drop down. And let me go ahead and go there real quick. So if you see, here's my Drive. See what I was talking about? It's crazy. If I click the settings wheel and I go down to upload settings, it is good to have this where it says that you have checked convert uploaded files to Google Docs format, but then it says confirm settings before each upload. That is what I highly recommend being your default. The reason being is that way anytime you upload something, it asks you, do you want to convert this or do you not want to convert it? And you can make that choice. And again, no matter what, as soon as it uploads, click it, open it up, make sure it views the way you expect it to. If it does not, then you need to either save it as a PDF or you need to upload it as a regular document. The PDF will always work. If you upload it and not convert it, it'll work the majority of the time. Okay, so now I did a little fun thing here. Notice this is the same page. It's shared with nobody, but I went ahead and just took a little screenshot and added this here. So if you're in a folder that's shared with a bunch of people, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see the first letter of their name, or you're going to see a picture icon of them. Also, you'll see that this says +5, so it means it's these people plus 5 more that they didn't have room to put there. you might see an icon like this. That's a man with a link, so that means, or a person with a link, so that means anybody with a link to this can view this folder. That's very important to know. So you can click this button right here, the man plus, and you can add who's shared with it. You can also do that. Let me go ahead and just drag this down again. If I want to share this, I could click that, and then that will bring this up where I can add people to share with as well. So that's how that works as far as sharing it goes. So let's look at how using a Google Doc, and this is really pretty much the same in Google Docs, Sheets, or Slides. There might be slight variations which don't make sense to me even between the 2 or 3 programs, but it's very easy to get used to. So when you create a document, the first thing I like to point out is you just click the text here and it will allow you to change the name of the document. That's very important. Just that way you know what you could name it, something you remember. That way you could just type it in that search box I showed you in the beginning, and you know exactly how to find it that way. Over here, I just demoed that a second ago. You could change your share permissions. So you click there, and you can say anybody with a link can view it, or comment it, or edit it. You could change all that there. If there's a lot of people commenting on it, you could view all the comments right here. And then down here is the editing toolbar. You'll notice that most of these things look very similar to a Microsoft Word document, with the exception of the newer Words. The newer Microsoft Suite has a big ribbon. These are much more simplified. It's got the majority of the things that you'd want to do with the Microsoft Word. There is some loss of functionality or different functionality because it's a web-based editor, but it's still pretty good. So you can see here that you have your formatting tools, your fonts. This is actually a web text type thing. You could zoom, you could go back, you could redo, all those things. Very, very neat stuff here. Then if I click, so this is just a zoom in from here. So you see right here there's the justification, and here is the thing I want to point out here is anytime you see this down arrow or this down arrow or this down arrow, that is a location that has more features. Anytime you see that down arrow, even if it's a Google search, I don't think they have that currently, but at one point in time there was a down arrow on Google searches even, and I think they've reformatted it. But it's interesting stuff. So go ahead and click those down arrows. See what they have for you there. So this is for a training I did, so I asked people to take a look at that. But let me go ahead and open one of these and just give you guys a quick look here. So this is an example document. You have all your file, move to trash, rename, make a copy. If you're opening a document that you don't have editing rights to, you can make a copy. You get the exact same document. It goes into your drive, and then you can edit your copy of it. So that's very cool. You could download them as, and it's kind of cut off there, but you could do Microsoft Word, open document format, rich text, PDFs, plain text, and at the bottom it's a web page, HTML zipped, which if you're watching this video, you probably wouldn't need to know how to do that. You have your view. You can see a ruler, show equation bar. You could make it go full screen. You can insert all these things. So there's formatting things again. All these things are you should be very familiar with them if you're used to doing it. And then just to point out, down arrow. So you could change the color of the text, change the color of your highlight. This is a link button, so if you type something, you can highlight it, click the link button, and now you can say that's www.google.com. You can hit apply, and now that's a link that would go to google.com. Right here, there's another down arrow, so there's line spacing, and then you have even more stuff in here. So your bullets are going to have down arrows with more stuff as well. So it's very, very simple. Just make sure that you click around, check it out. And the same thing is if you go to Google Sheets, it's still the same thing. You have this ribbon up here. You're going to have a few different functions because you're going to have borders, you're going to have merging the cells, you're going to have vertical alignment, you're going to have charts, things like that. You still have your link in your form. This has a formula bar. Even if you go, oops, I clicked the wrong button. Where is it at? There we go. Even if I go, you can't see this in screen, but I'm going to go to the Google Slides version. So here again, you're going to have a few different things up here. Now you have shape tools, you have line tools, you have text boxes, you have background, you have layout, so the layout of the slide, the theme, you could change the theme of your slideshow. All those things. You can change your transitions. All these things are things that you can change here. So the slides is a little different, but it's still nothing. It's nothing crazy hard. Then you have top right here, share, and you can choose that anybody at the Early Mart School District can edit. I can hit change. I could say that they can only specific people. So I put in their email addresses. Anyone with a link, I can say they can edit, they can view, or they can comment. Alright, so that's a pretty exhaustive video here of creation of documents. And I wanted to go into organization of that as well, but I think this should be enough for right now. So please let me know if there's anything I could do to help in the meantime. And let me go ahead and go back to my slideshow here. So if you would like to, you can contact me. Oh, I thought I had my phone number on this. I do not, so let me fix that. You can contact me at 559-285-8. Interesting. So you could contact me here. Or you could email me at thasson@earlymart.org. All right, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful.